Welcome everyone to another episode of Mastering Money Mondays, where each and every week we infuse a topic to help us all transition from one of being a debtor and or saver into that of being a wealth creator. I am Mr. Green, affectionately known as Mr. Flip Your 401k.
And I am Cynthia Peach, also known as your financial freedom fighter.
That's what's happening. So, hey, why do we have this podcast? Why do we have this show, Mastering Money Mondays? Is quite simple. Before I get into that, make sure you like and subscribe, all right? The reason why we have this show is because we've been taught how to make money, all right? Go get a good education, go get a good paying job, right? We have been taught how to manage money, all right? Now that you're making some money, go ahead and put that in a checking, savings account, 401k account, right? But we have not been taught how to master money, meaning taking the same dollar over and over and over and over again, multiplying it, becoming pregnant with possibilities so that we can live our best life, okay? So as Cynthia and I are learning more about money, how it works, we're getting mentorship, getting in masterminds. We wanted to pour back into community to help us all, support us all as we grow and evolve within this financial journey. So that's why we have this show. Now, episode 27. Episode 27 is about financial stress and how it impacts mental health. We just had Mental Health Awareness Month not too long ago, so we thought that this would be a interesting topic to chat on a little bit, just because it ties back into mastering money. How can you master money if you are stressed out and your mental health is impacted by stress? It's going to be quite difficult to master money. So that is the pain point. Financial stress can be overwhelming. It can lead to anxiety, depression, and a host of other mental health issues, right? The emotional burden in turn can hinder your ability to effectively manage your finances, and this creates a vicious and generational cycle. So, Cynthia, what is the money tip?
So the money tip is to, one of the basic things about money is to establish and follow a budget, right? This is, when stress comes on, you want to, have as many things as you can on automatic, right? So by having a clear understanding of your budget, of your income and your expenses, you can reduce the financial uncertainty and the stress, right? And so I think about COVID and like all the things that COVID brought on, right? So first of all, just the stress of this disease that you could die from. This respiratory disease that we don't have a vaccine for when it first started, right? And then people dying. A lot of people lost their jobs, and so you go through that. And then we had the hyperinflation. Ooh. So now you already had the stress of this disease that didn't have a vaccine. Then you have people dying. Then you have people losing your job. Then you have hyperinflation. So do you understand the amount of stress? Just society, in a society. And so I was watching somebody I even in church, my pastor was saying we have a mental health crisis, right? Yeah. And I do believe that. And I was watching another guy and he was saying, he doesn't have the statistics, but he really believes that 80% of African Americans are suffering from some form of depression. Yeah. Right. And I can totally believe that, right? Because I'm always trying to protect my mental health, right? I'm like, ooh, let me make sure I have this appointment with my counselor just to have a safe place where I can just talk my feelings out and have somebody help me navigate that. So the financial piece of this is what we just keep urging you is to get your finances in order, live below your means, have your budget, have your emergency fund. So when these things, the stresses come on, it happened to me. I moved to the house and had a lot of major repairs, and it was a stressor because it wiped out my emergency fund. I had to put some repairs on a credit card. And so, it was stressful because I was like, man, I've never been in this situation before. I normally, I had plenty of disposable income, even after I paid all my bills, paid tithes, savings, and investing. I still got a little cushion, right? So my new normal was a little stressful for me. So make sure you have a budget. You understand your expenses. And yeah, I couldn't go out to eat as much as I wanted to, but that was fine because I didn't need to eat that stuff anyway. To be at home cooking anyway.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that going out, that's the cyclical thing, right? It's kind of connected because if you are stressed out, one of the outlets for some people is eating.
Yes.
And in a lot of circumstances, actually, I just pulled up to a restaurant the other day. It was like early evening, early afternoon, and it was crowded. I'm just like, I'm thinking, because I know how my pockets are right now. They hurting. But these folks are like ganged up in restaurants, and I'm just like, where are y'all getting this money from? But anyway, I'm not here to judge.
But I think COVID brought that on too, because I was like, I never ate out this much. But remember when COVID, when the restaurants were shutting down, and I remember Governor Abbott like encouraging people to eat out. Please support the local businesses so they don't go out. And so because I didn't have anywhere to go, I would just go to a restaurant. Everything was takeout. I would go to a restaurant and just sit in my car and eat my food and people watch. Right. So now my brain has been conditioned that every time I go out the house,
so
I need to stop and get
that's interesting
to eat. So
So I mean, there is a such thing as a lingering or hangover COVID effect.
Yeah, by far COVID is still emotionally,
physically, financially. All of the above. Check mark everything on that list.
It's still, especially financially. Man, those prices, everything went up. Everything doubled and tripled.
Yep.
I went and looked for a new car, and I was like, okay, so this car that I bought, it was a long time ago, but it has doubled in price, and the interest rate has tripled.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So my point was, before we jumped off the rails, is that, when you are stressed out, when you have mental stress, you do lean towards, certain habits, like, for example, not necessarily eating out as a habit, but maybe eating out more than what you should, spending more on that than what you should, and even eating unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
Now, look, 4 out of 5 adults, right? 4 out of 5 adults are stressed financially, right? So what am I saying here? I'm saying, just like they tell you in the church, and look over your shoulder and say, neighbor. When you go into work, you need to look over your shoulder and say, neighbor, because there is a 80% chance that person that sits next to you is stressed out in some shape, form, or fashion about their money. And guess what that leads to? That leads to counterproductivity. That leads to quiet quitting, which I personally don't like the term quiet quitting. I look at that as work-life balance, but we'll talk about that at another day. But the thing about that is, what I'm trying to tie back into, if it is affecting your productivity, now that could potentially tie back now into your performance reviews, your performance appraisals, which can now tie back into the end result, which is, what is the end result? You being ousted out of your job. So how does that tie into Master Money? If that stress is leading to a situation where you no longer have a job and no longer have any income, you definitely cannot master money if you ain't got any income coming in. So let's talk about some things that you can do to maybe manage some of that financial stress. Now, Cynthia did talk about budget, which I think is good. And you got to be real with yourself. If you look at your overall financial situation, look at your your statement history, for example, in your checking or your save checking account, or even your credit card, and see what you're spending and see if there's an opportunity to cut. But and then start building a budget from that. But then also practice self-care.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Self-care. I know one of the things that I appreciate at my employer is that we have a relationship with Calm. So we can actually meditate either away from the workplace or during the workplace. And I have found that has been very beneficial to my peace within the workplace. And then it also has given me clarity, being able to remove some mind clutter so that I can begin focusing more intentionally on my finances and my family and other things. So practicing self-care, whether that means hiking, exercising, I don't know, bathing. Some people enjoy bathing, massage, I don't know, getting your hair done, your nails, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Practice some self-care, right? And communicate.
Can I input on that? Because I love self-care. Like,
okay.
I wouldn't say I'm a girly girl, but like I don't do the bust down or whatever they call the wigs. Is that what they call it?
I don't know what they.
Okay.
I've heard bust.
That's a wig.
Yeah,
that's a wig.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't do nails, but I do love self-care. And I just remember my brother was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "Spa."
Right.
And he was like, "Okay, send me what spa you want to go to." So yes, definitely take time, because my friend told me, she's like, "Cynthia, you just go from one thing to the next. Sometimes you forget to just pause and celebrate, or pause and take care of yourself." And she's right. And it's a American culture thing, right, that we just go. So
yeah, I like that. Self-care is, it used to not be, but self-care is my number one priority, then work.
Yes.
Because work is not optimized, is not efficient, is not done with excellence on my part if I'm not caring for self. So what does that look like for me throughout the day? Like, I take breaks and walk all the time, right? I sit at my desk and I'll take a 5 or 10 minute meditation. I'll put the headphones in, play some music. It may be a harp, it may be a flute, it may be some kind of instrument. Like, my intent every day is to take time out to care for self. So I say that because I think sometimes people think that self-care is something that only needs to happen maybe every few months or maybe even every few weeks. No, you can care for yourself every day.
Absolutely.
Even if that means a ritual or ritualizing how you go into sleep. Some of us go into sleep with scrolling our phones and our TV, and then our bodies tell us, okay, we're tired. So then we just shut that off and then try to shut our bodies off. No, ritualize going into sleep. Care for yourself enough to say, hey, look, I want to be at peace as I transition into sleep. So that way, when I start my new day, I'm rested, I'm refreshed, I'm relaxed, and I don't have any hangover from the previous day on my mind or on my body or my spirit going into the next day. Anyway, so I'm with you. I love self-care and I practice that daily.
Yes.
Every minute of the day.
One more thing. And so my friend gave me a quote, and she said, you do not have to earn rest. And so I think the American culture with our 2 weeks of vacation and, I think we have the least days off, like holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 weeks, I think we have the least of, first world countries and the least of holidays and all of that stuff. So I think we have conditioned subconsciously that we have to earn our rest.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, no, when you're tired, rest.
Right. And that backs into, again, the more clutter you have in your mind, the less you can think about just the ideas alone. And if you believe, I know Cynthia and we have spirituality involved in our lives. And so sometimes you got to clear in order to receive.
Yeah.
And sometimes the ideas of how you can do better, be better with your money can be is being given to you by divinity, by higher power, by God, however you want to refer to it. But because you're so distracted, because you're so cluttered, you can't even be open to the receipt of what you can do better from a financial perspective because of it. So again, basically what we're saying is self-care is important. Because it does tie into becoming a master of your money. It does go hand in hand. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close us out. Cynthia, I'll turn it over to you so you can do so.
Yes. And so financial stress can have a huge impact on your mental health. But if you just take a couple of steps, like we just keep, we keep saying in our shows, build a budget, have an emergency fund, start somewhere. Start wherever you are to start saving money, paying off high interest debt. Change your lifestyle, because I know we on social media and everybody at brunch, Sunday fun day, but you got to get a goal and you got to get a vision, and you have to defer gratification, right? But I have to tell myself over and over again, I don't have to earn rest. When I'm tired, I need to rest, and so you have to take care of yourself. So I think that's what that summarizes. Like, do the practical. Get a budget, but you're also a whole person. You're not a machine. So
with that being said, hey, thank you all for attending or viewing another week of Mastering Money Mondays. And until we meet again, you all take care.
Go rest.